Well, hello. How are you? So, I'm going to try and make this a relatively quick version of the previous version I did, which was over 15 minutes long. I tend to talk a lot. This one's called Judging Landmark. Why am I making this video? Long story shorter, when I was 17, I went to a Landmark introduction that a friend invited me to. At the time this occurred, I come from a family of big disbelievers when it comes to a lot of things. So they said, it's a scam. They're just trying to get your money, the whole thing. Of course, everything costs money in some perspective. Well, I'll get into that later. I come from that perspective, that they're just trying to get your money. Okay, great. Fast forward 21 years, I have a couple of acquaintances and a friend who is actually a very active participant within the Landmark education program. So I went to another introduction this evening that she offered to let me come to. She didn't push me. She wasn't saying, "Hey, you're gonna come? Are you gonna come?" She just said, "Hey, if there's an opportunity, if you want to come on." So I decided I wanted to go. I spent the evening there. She said, is there something you want to be involved in? Something you want to do? Of course, there was a certain amount of questions and curious. Simba, Dea, settle down in there. Settle. No chewing, Sim. Sorry, I have a dog. He's a beautiful little boy, but he likes to chew on stuff. The other one, believe it or not, loves his chew toys. And he's the bigger one. It's the small one that loves. He's little. Okay, so anyways, let me get back to my point. I told you it was going to be long, and I wanted to. So anyways, she invited me. There was a certain amount of questioning, like, so what are your hesitations to signing up? Okay. That happens in life. People hesitate all the time. And what happens when you hesitate? Usually things continue to stay the same. So I don't look at it as much as pressure as much as I look at it from people going, okay, well, what is your real concern about it? What is your concern? There's an investment that you have to make to succeed at anything. No business starts without making an investment, financially as well as emotionally, time-wise. There's always an investment that you have to make to start a business. No business is a free thing to start, nor is anything in your life that's worthwhile free to start. You don't just start working out and get great results. You have to make an investment, the investment of time, the investment of your nutrition, the whole thing. So I just want to clear that up right away. Landmark is like $550, okay? So there is a number of people who's like, well, they make you pay money for it. Who doesn't make you pay money for something? How many authors do you know that say, okay, here's my free book. Every time they release a book, it's free. That doesn't happen because that's not their business. They're saying, you can say across the board in everything, you can say, well, I should get it for free. But how much do you put any effort or stock in something that's free? If you have a wine glass that someone gave you for free and it gets knocked off of a counter, are you going to stress about it? No, because you didn't pay for it. If you had a $200 wine glass that fell off of the counter and it blew and it just got destroyed and it was $200, are you going to be concerned about it? Of course, because there's an investment in it. There's a value to you, whether it's got that same value to the rest of the world or not. You know what you invested in it. So I'm getting off track a little. I went to this tonight, to the introduction tonight, and then I decided I chose to sign up for it. So I came back, rested for a while, played with my dogs. I hope no one's chewing in there. Love you. Then I decided to come into my office and to do a little research on Landmark. As a matter of fact, there's a video frozen in the background right now where this woman is talking about her experiences with Landmark. And I've seen mixed 50-50s. So I'm looking at the mixed because there's a great, I wish I could remember the quote, but there is a great thinker who said, you should never be able to argue your point until you can never be that convincing until, or really argue your point until you can argue the other side of it more effectively. So one person who came up was a comedian named Daniel Ryan Spalding, and he directly called Landmark a cult. As a matter of fact, he called it, because he quotes a part saying, living a life guilt-free. He said, there are people who do that. They're called sociopaths, which is actually relatively funny. But there's a difference, in my opinion, between living life guilt-free, in other words, not holding on to the guilt of things you've done in the past to let it dictate your future or your resentments or whatever, and just saying, okay, well, I'm going to hurt people, and I don't care. There's a big difference between it. It was funny, though. I don't agree with his perspective, but it was funny. And then there was a book called Mind Control Language Patterns. And there was this author who you can find on Amazon.com. So the two things that came to my mind were, number one, when I was watching this, is number one, has Daniel Ryan Spalding, DRS, has he ever actually attended Landmark? Or is he going based on what he's heard from people who attended Landmark, they went to the introduction or whatever? Or is he talking to people who actually went through the entire program? And what did they not pull out of Landmark? It's not just Landmark we're talking about. Landmark charges money, but motivational speakers like Anthony Robbins and Ty Lopez and Jim Rome and these people who are very prevalent in the Deepak Chopra, these are people who are motivational speakers. And when you go to see them, how many times does Anthony Robbins or Deepak Chopra come to your town and say, okay, free seminar, come on down? No, they charge more than Landmark is charging. For a weekend, they'll charge you $1,200, $1,400 to go and visit it, whereas Landmark is $550. So theirs is not a circumstance where they're making that much money off of you, if you think they're making any money off of you. And where Daniel Ryan Spalding got his judgments or perspectives on Landmark, I don't know. It would be fascinating to know if he actually knows people who've been involved with it, who came away with nothing. He talked about how they're in a controlled environment. Well, when you go to any seminar, you're in a controlled environment. You can walk out anytime you want to. No one can stop you from walking out of a seminar, but there's a controlled environment because they're trying to make sure that the other people participating get the effects of whatever they're trying to do, whether it be talking about oil and gas. It's like a conference. You go to a conference, you spend days and days and days there. They say, we get breaks here and there. Don't go far. That's how a conference works. That's business in any kind of capacity. The gentleman who talked about jumping to the book, Mind Control Language Patterns, this guy talked about how they use the word enroll a lot. And he said they use the word enroll, and first because you want to enroll people in your in your approach and your vision of how you want to accomplish things. So if I'm starting a business, I want to enroll, get people to help me and to work with me. Enroll doesn't mean pay. It just means to invest their energy and their efforts towards helping me to accomplish this goal. Everything's an investment, not necessarily financially. Sometimes it's just a physical or a presence investment. So that's something that people do. He said that, but then they connect you to enroll other people in Landmark to take their sessions and their trainings and such. Well, of course, if you have a perspective on something that you believe will be beneficial to people, you're going to recommend them to do it. Imagine just sitting there and talking to someone about politics. If you're a Democrat and they're a Republican, you're going to tell them how Republicans are wrong, right? How Republicans are wrong and how they should look at it from this perspective. And the same applies on the opposite side of that. If you're a Republican, you're going to try and convince people that Democrats are wrong. You're going to say, here, this is what's wrong with Democrats. And you're trying to enroll them in your perspective. The same thing applies when it comes to money. If you think money is the root of all evil and the people who have a lot of money are evil people or inconsiderate, you're going to say, this is why people who have money are evil. Or this is why they're, selfish. And if you're someone with money who's trying to convince people that living a poor lifestyle is negative, you're going to say, well, this is why it's negative. You don't care about yourself, you have low self-confidence, this and that. those are enrollments of you trying to change people's patterns. And it's funny to me because he spoke about how they're trying to enroll you in their perspective. And then he says, well, if you want to pick up my book, go to Amazon.com and you can buy it for $27. But now I'm going to show you quickly at the end of this video how you can get it for a significantly cheaper price. So he tells you to go to Amazon, click on this button, go here, put your email address in, then he'll give you 30 minutes to look at the material, and if you want to buy it, you can buy it for $10 less. What did he just do? He just tried to enroll you in his perspective and to buy his book. He's making money off of it. You could download the book, delete the file immediately. He wouldn't care. He would not care if it's a very valid point. Once you buy a book from someone, whether electronic or hard copy, you could use it. You could use the hard copy for fire, for flames for the fire. You could use it to fuel a fire. You could use the ebook. You could just delete it. It's gone. He's already gotten his money. He or she or whomever the author or the publishing company is, they've already got their money. But they got you to invest. They got you to enroll in their perspective enough to read their book. I think you should read a lot of books. I'm actually interested in reading the guy's book. I'd like to know where he comes from, what his validation is for judging people in this perspective. Usually one of the things that's great with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Rich Friends, Poor Friends, is a lot of people who are very wealthy consider a lot of research and look at a lot of different things before they make decisions. Whereas people who don't succeed necessarily as much tend to have an opinion but don't consider other opinions. And that's very true. I see that daily in life. Well, you know, how's your life going? Oh, it's going all right. Well, what can you do to make it better? I don't know. I just guess life's like that. That's just the way life is. Versus someone who would say, so what do you don't like about your life? How can you change it right now? What can you do? Have you considered this? Have you considered that? That's enrolling in a philosophy. So my point is, it's easy to judge without knowing what the benefits it might be to someone else. And it's even more intriguing and fascinating to tell someone not to enroll in a philosophy or say, oh, well, they're trying to control your mind by suggesting you enroll and then you get others to enroll. And then in the next breath, they're telling you, so go check out my book. Go check out my website. That's the same thing. There's a great scripture from the Bible that people say daily. I wonder how often they listen to. Judge not, lest ye be judged. Just consider it. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Take care. Have a great night, great day, whatever time of day it is for you. And I will see you later. Cheers.